so happy that you guys decided to show up. So we're going to talk about what I actually take. I did push record. Great. We're going to take talk about what I actually take. I get this question, asked this question all of the time. And so I thought let's talk about it. So there we go. So if you don't know me, I'm Dr. Peoples, and I prescribe health. I'm an internal medicine physician, practice something called functional medicine, which is essentially root cause medicine. So trying to get to the root cause of illnesses so women can feel 10 years younger and live 10 years longer. And I don't say that in jest, I fully mean that, because as we get older, oftentimes we think that what's happening to our bodies are just out of our hands, the consequence of aging. But my focus is on longevity and extending life, while also helping women, particularly women going through perimenopause, balance their hormones so that they can feel like themselves again. So when I got into functional medicine, one of the areas that is always pressing, even before functional medicine, were supplements and botanicals. And it's one of my really great interests. And so I take a ton of different things, and I'm going to tell you my regimen that may or may not apply directly to you. But what I want you to do as we go through this is to really think about some of how I think about supplements. And then we can, extrapolate from that what might be right for you. So we're going to talk about how I prescribe health. We're going to understand goal setting, because deciding what supplements you take have to do with your specific goals, but I'll share mine with you. And then developing a lifestyle plan that works for you. I'll share with you part of my lifestyle plan. Then what supplements I actually take, and then how do you get supplements, and then how do you get support on this from me if you're interested. So prescribing health one-on-one, if you've heard me talk, I talk about the People's Life prescriptions. This is the framework that I use. I go through not just supplements, but we talk about the lifestyle that accompanies those supplements, right? Because supplements in and of itself are supplemental to a lifestyle. And so this is the framework I use. And this basically was developed out of the idea that, regardless of what your diagnosis is, regardless of what your symptoms are, if you're trying to get to the root cause of your issues, you really got to start with the things that you can impact, the parts of your lifestyle that will impact how illness develops or does not develop in your life. And so I developed these 7 areas around intention, which is personal life, food, sleep, fitness, connection, detoxification, and resiliency or stress management. And so these are some of the areas, the top areas that you can actually intervene upon, and that you can really shift the way your health trajectory is going. So on top of these, though, are 2 other areas that I call supportive prescriptions. So those are supplements and labs. So oftentimes when people come to me, the first thing they want to know is what labs should I get and what supplements they should get. And this is actually secondary. I usually start with the lifestyle, then we talk about labs, and then we talk about supplements. And so we kind of go in that order, sometimes out of order. But obviously today we're going to skip all of that other stuff and go straight to the supplements. So the first thing you want to do is you want to decide what you're trying to achieve. So for me, I always think about supplements in 3 different categories. You have your foundational supplements that has to do with just generalized wellness, aging gracefully, fitness and performance, immune support, weight management, and prevention. So that's one category of supplements. This is very distinct than symptom relief. So that's like I'm taking a supplement for sleep because I have insomnia. That's a symptom that I'm trying to relieve with a botanical, which is much different than maybe taking like a multivitamin just for generalized health. And then lastly would be treatment. So oftentimes, because I do integrative medicine, there's this idea that we do just green medicine. Basically, instead of taking a prescription medication, we just give you a botanical to treat it. And sometimes that can be helpful, but it's really not that direct. It's not like there's a botanical for everything that we have prescription medications from, and people can avoid prescription medication altogether. There are certain circumstances where I absolutely believe in prescription medication. And then if I can use a supplement instead, then great, but I'm not against prescription medication. But you can use certain botanicals for treatment, but the approach has to be different, and you have to understand the difference. So those are my three big categories. The next thing we're going to talk about, and I want you to think about this for yourself. So I talk about this tree of life all the time. And what this tree of life is really showing you is the branches and the leaves of the tree are how your body is expressing whatever's going on. Oftentimes that can be in the form of diseases, diabetes, high blood pressure, obesity. But what's really our target is what's under the within the roots. That's why we call it root cause medicine. So the things that are in the soil and in the roots are the things that actually cause the expression in the leaves and the branches. So for me, when I think about what are my goals, we're thinking about how am I expressing my own wellness? What's bothering me? What are my symptoms, right? And so with in full transparency, I wrote down the issues that I have. Now, your issues are obviously going to be different, but I'm a 40-something-year-old woman. I don't have any major medical issues, but I do have symptoms as I go through perimenopause. Now, the first one here, I labeled as being moody. That is not an actual diagnosis, but if you are a woman who is going through perimenopause, I am sure that you are experiencing some change in mood shifts. And so again, that's not a medical diagnosis, but that's what I'm calling it. It's just, I am moody and I can't get around that. Also, I've had an increase in my anxiety as I've gotten older. Fatigue, just feeling more tired than I normally used to feel. Insomnia is what's been a really big one for me. Difficulty with sleeping, brain fog, not being able to think as clearly. And then just general aging concerns for me, just wanting to age the best that I can. So that's not necessarily a problem as much as it is something I'm trying to be proactive about. And then also muscle tone. So that's just another area that I'm concerned about. So this is my sort of tree or my symptoms as I've mapped them out. So then when I think about, okay, so these are the things I'm trying to treat or address, then I want to get down to the root causes. So what are the things that are going to influence these symptoms that I'm having? Again, this is not an exhaustive list, but it is, the way I think about it. So nutrient deficiency. So do I have enough nutrients to make sure that my hormones are balanced, that my anxiety is under control, that I'm not tired, right? Gut health. So your microbiome or the bacteria in your intestines actually has a real big effect, particularly on mood, brain fog, aging. All of these are really important as it pertains to gut health. Stress levels, sleep, hormones, movement, and food sensitivities are some of the other ones. So what I'm doing here is I'm painting a picture for you of what my symptoms are and then the root causes that I want to address using supplements. So I go through all of this so you understand that I'm not just picking these supplements out of the blue. I'm really thinking about what my body needs. Now, this can't be a talk from me without me talking about my lifestyle plan, because like I said, supplements are an adjunct. But I also have a very extensive lifestyle plan, and this is something that I help people develop. Again, using those 7 pillars that I talked to you guys about earlier: personal life, sleep life, detox life. And I've written out here some of the things that are in that plan. So I'll just go through a couple of them because I do think it's kind of useful for you to think about what is in your plan that helps to supplement your wellness. So, my personal life really has to do with my intention. So what are my intentions? To optimize the way that I feel, to make sure that I'm tracking my symptoms, and that I optimize my lab. So that's sort of my goal. And whenever you want to make any behavior change or change your health in any way, you have to start with an intention. So that's where personal life comes in. So for my sleep, I really plan to get 8 hours of sleep. I have a sleep routine that I've developed that I try to follow every night. I have morning exercise, which helps me get tired in the evening. I have nighttime tea, and I also have a nighttime supplement. So you can see the supplement is a part of my overall plan. Detox life. I eat organic when possible. I want to optimize my nutrition because that's going to help my body detox. Sweating daily also has a huge impact on my ability to detox. And then also getting sleep also enhances. So you see there's some overlap between detox life, sleep life, all of those things. So from food life perspective, I try to limit or eliminate my processed food exposure, increasing my number of veggies per day. So 7 is my goal of veggies per day, and then a multivitamin. Here's another supplement within that plan. Resilient life, I meditate twice a day, or at least I try. I have deep breathing exercises that I use throughout the day. I use music and walking breaks. And then I always check my intention throughout the day to make sure that I am being who I say I want to be. So that's being very intentional throughout my day. Fitness, I do 15 minutes of HIIT, which is just my Peloton, 10-minute weight training, which again, I use Peloton for that. And then I try to get in some micro walks throughout the day. And then I also try to get 100 grams of protein. So that's, again, a supplement that I'm using here in addition to food. And then connected life, I try to make intentional time with my family. I have a program called the Black Women's Guide. That's another way for me to stay connected, even though they're with my patients. It's also really helpful for me. And then I'm also a part of another coaching group called Evoke. So this is my lifestyle plan in summary. And then I'm going to add supplements to that. Okay. So I don't want anybody to think that, supplements are these, it's a fix all to everything. You really have to add it to a comprehensive lifestyle plan. So choosing the right supplement, I talked about this in my other talk the other day, but really choosing the right supplement, I'm not going to spend a ton of time here, but it's important that you just don't pull anything off the shelf. You've really got to consider quality, the dose of what you're taking. Are the supplements working for you or against you? Are they working with other supplements to really enhance their efficacy? Are they being absorbed well? Is the form one that I'll actually take? And we're going to talk a lot about that, because you'll find with my supplement regimen, it is full of a lot of different supplements that do the same thing. And I'll explain to you why I do that. And then, does it work? And we'll talk a little bit about determining that for yourself. So then there's also this level of personalization. So again, I go through all of this with all of my patients, but I also go through this with myself. When I'm personalizing my supplements, I don't just go to like GNC and talk to the man who works there, tell him my symptoms, and then pick a supplement. Like, I really go through a process of like, is this the right thing for me? And so part of that, sometimes that includes lab testing. So I can test something like a vitamin D level and see if my levels are good. So I can check my nutrient assessment that looks at all of my nutrients and determine what I'm deficient in. I think about different formulations that work for me. So do I like pills? Do I like powders? Do I like liquids? I think about flavors, because if it doesn't taste good and I'm not going to take it, then the supplement's not going to be helpful, right? And I have a very versatile taste buds. So I am one of those people who will taste stuff take stuff that is nasty if I know it's going to like help me. So not everybody's like that. I also want to make sure that I'm using the right combinations. And then I use a lot of different brands that I really like. So what you'll notice in my supplement regimen, that you'll see a lot of the same brands. Okay. So here are my categories. So again, thinking about my goals, I told you guys my goals. So here are the categories that I find that I need. I need a multivitamin and mineral. I need additional protein support because I don't get that enough in my own diet. I need gut health and gut support. I have hormone health, and this is not necessarily for my sex hormones like estrogen and progesterone, but more for my stress hormones. And then also sleep support. So this is what I use, and each category. So what you will see here is a number of different things. I do not take all of these every single day. Let me tell you why I have so many on here. I use different supplements. The way that I think about supplements is I want to think about how is this going to actually work in my life? And sometimes I don't mind taking pills. Sometimes I like to take a powder. Sometimes I like to just switch it up so I'm not taking the same thing all the time. So what I've done is I have a number of supplements in my regimen, and just depending on the day, depending on what works for me in that particular day, will determine what I take. So this first one, a Pure Wellness Essentials, that is by a company called Metagenics. It's actually a little packet. So this is really great for when I'm traveling, because it has my multivitamin in it, it has my fish oil in it, and it has some other supplements that are really great. So if I'm traveling, they come in these little preformed packets. I take them with me. So I have this just for travel. If I'm at home, or if I am, not going to have like a smoothie or a shake in a particular day, then I will combine these two pills. It's either a multivitamin, which is the same multivitamin that was found up in this pack, but then I'll add some omega-3. So that's fish oil. So that is just another option. So I have my packets, and then I have my single pills. Again, I do not take both of these together. Just depends on what's going on in my life. Now, I'm a person who also really enjoys shakes and smoothies. And I also told you that I wanted to enhance my protein. So one of the supplements I use is a powdered form. So sometimes if I'm on the go, I don't want to take a pill, but I want to have something right after a workout, then I might take Mitocore. Mitocore is this multivitamin, but also has protein in it. And the great thing about this one is that it helps your mitochondria, which are the energy producing cells. So remember, I told you one of my issues is energy and fatigue. So Mitocore is really great for that. So I might take a shake right after I work out, and also get my nutrients in that way, so I don't have to worry about taking any pills. Now, sometimes I also said one of my goals is to increase the number of green vegetables that I get, or just vegetables in general. So sometimes I might add a daily green to like a smoothie that I'm making. And that again enhances my nutrients, and it fills the gap for my normal food intake, right? So this is just another way for me to get a multivitamin or get extra nutrients. So this is the Daily Green by a company called Thorne. And then oftentimes, because I check my vitamin D levels, if my vitamin D levels are not where they're supposed to be, I'll add extra vitamin D. So in the Mitocore, in the Wellness Essentials, in the Phyto Multi, and the omega-3, they all have vitamin D in it. But sometimes, again, I talked to you guys a little bit about dosing. So if I need additional vitamin D, I add that. And I always take vitamin D with K2. I don't have a lot of time to talk about that today, but I do recommend that if you're taking vitamin D, you take the D3 form and you match that with K2. So that's my multivitamin and shake. And I failed to say that if you guys have questions about anything while I'm talking, feel free to put it in the chat and I will address it. So I also said about protein. So I added Mitocore here again, because this is one of the protein supplements that I take. But let's say on a day I'm taking just my regular multivitamin in the form of a pill, and I don't need additional vitamins. I might just take my pure protein, my pure P protein. And again, there's several different protein powders out here. This one is a vegan form. I'm not vegan, but so you could do protein in the form of whey. You could do it in the form of a vegan alternative, so like a pea. And so either one of those will work. And this company is called Designs for Health, and they make both. They make a whey protein and a vegan protein. So that's the one I have right now, which is the reason I put this one in this talk. So gut health. So I actually have a gut protocol that I do when I was trying to heal my gut. But once it's healed, then I have moved on to just maintenance. And so what do I take? Now, again, not to be over confusing, but I have two different forms of each of these. One of these is a probiotic. So this Megaspore, both of these here are probiotics, and I'll tell you the difference between them in just a moment. And then this is a prebiotic. Now, the probiotic I take is called Megaspore, and they actually have a kids version. The kids version is a gummy. Now, 2 of the gummies equals 1 of the pills. And I told you guys, I like to switch things up. Sometimes I really don't want to swallow pills. And so I found a formulation where I could get the same supplement, but in the form of a gummy. So again, sometimes I might take the spore form, which is a capsule, or sometimes I might take the gummy. So again, I don't take both of these, either or. The prebiotic is the same. The prebiotic is a powder, but then there's also this Mega Squeeze. Again, same company, same product, but this one is the kids form, and sometimes I just take the kids form. So I just thought I'd share it with you. I'm also sharing it with you because if you have kids, my daughter really loves this little squeeze pack. So she gets her probiotic, and then both of my kids also really like the gummies. My sons don't like the squeeze pack, but they do like the gummies. So if you have kids and you're interested in getting something from them, I also recommend these for the kids. So that's why I'm sharing it with you, not to overwhelm you. Just letting you know, listen, there isn't necessarily a right way. There's only a right way for you. And so you have to find that out. So hormone health, the only thing I'm taking right now is ashwagandha. It is one of my favorite botanical herbs. It is an adaptogen, and it helps to balance the HPA axis, which is basically the hormone stress axis. And ashwagandha, again, if you've ever heard me talk, I talk about it ad nauseum, but it's one of my favorites. And this I found has worked better for me for anxiety and depression than anything else. So I really incorporate ashwagandha. Now, what I'm not sharing with you here is that I also use ashwagandha in my tea in a powder form. And so you can also do that. I oftentimes will switch between taking the pills or the capsule or making a tea. Matter of fact, I have the tea every single day. But I don't always add ashwagandha. Sometimes I add other adaptogens. So I didn't share that with you guys here, but just know that I have found ways to diversify from taking a pill here as well. And then for sleep, so I told you guys one of my big issues with sleep. My two go-to formulations for sleep is one that's called Sleep Formula. This is by Gaia Herbs. And I really like this one. I've tried a lot. There's another one that I actually really like called Sleep Aid by I can't remember the company, but I will. There's a way for you guys to get access to all of these, so you don't have to write them down. I should have told you that from the jump. But yes, so Sleep Formula is what I'm using now, and then Neuromag. This is a magnesium form that actually helps with rest. There are different types of magnesiums. This one is L-threonate, which is a calming magnesium. Some forms of magnesium can cause diarrhea, that cause GI upset. If you have constipation, sometimes I use magnesium for that, but that's a different type of magnesium. That's called magnesium citrate. This is magnesium L-glycinate, and this is what I use for helping with sleep, restless leg syndrome, and all of those sorts of things. All right, and then my last category are my as needed. So these aren't things that I take every single day, but I take them when I need them. I have talked about this ad nauseum as well. It's also by Gaia Herbs. It's called Immune Activator. This is what I take whenever I feel like a cold is coming on. It is a miracle supplement. So I keep this on hand at all times. Again, I have a whole video on what I do for my immune support, and I talk about this one. D-Hist is great for allergies, and I take this on a regular basis as well, but not daily. I take it, if my nose is itching, my eyes are itching. Another great supplement, D-Hist. This is by Orthomolecular, I believe. And then Wheat Rescue I use because I am gluten sensitive. I don't have like celiac, but I do avoid gluten. And what Wheat Rescue does is it helps to break down that protein in the event that I'm exposed to gluten. Oftentimes when I have gluten, it will make me have brain fog or fatigue or sometimes even a headache. So I use the Wheat Rescue as a way to sort of mitigate those symptoms. So that's all of my supplements. Again, you do not need to remember all of this. I will tell you in just a moment how you can see all of these in full scripts, which I'll introduce you to in just a minute. So some final considerations about supplements when you're thinking about the right protocol for you. Combine with lifestyle. So you don't want to just take supplements and think they're going to solve all your problems. Personalization is key. So this is really important. I don't want you to think, oh, because Dr. Peoples takes it, this is what I should take. One of the things that I'm hoping you're going to get from this talk is the fact that I don't take the same thing every single day. I diversify it. I find different ways. I found different ways that I can take supplements, get them into my system, but in ways that work for me. And the other thing, the next one here is one supplement at a time. So here's another thing that's really important. I went through a lot of supplements with you guys tonight. And what I did not just start taking all of these all at the same time. I usually start one supplement at a time and make sure that my body responds well to it. And keep in mind that oftentimes, unless you're using a supplement for symptom relief, and that there's some caveats to this as well, but oftentimes it takes a while for your body to get acclimated to a new supplement. So if you're going to start a supplement, you really need to be taking it for about 12 weeks. Things like a multivitamin or things of that nature, you may need to take for an extended amount of time before you actually see the effect. So oftentimes people say, oh, I took a supplement and it didn't work, but they never gave it an opportunity. Supplements and botanicals are not like prescription medications. They're not like Tylenol you take for a headache and your headache goes away. Oftentimes it requires a buildup in your system. So I usually tell people 12 weeks for like general wellness. Now, again, there are some caveats to this that I don't have time to go through today, but just know that for most of the time, you want to give your supplement some time to do its thing. Then always reassess your goals. I went over with you guys what my goals are, but those goals might change. You know, sleep is not as big of an issue for me as it used to be. So I don't take the sleep supplement every single night now. And fatigue, none of those things that I shared with you are as big of an issue because I've developed a lifestyle around trying to prevent or address those things. So sometimes, you know, supplements may need to change. Check your labs when appropriate. So things like vitamin D, you can check your labs there. There's some other labs that can look more specifically at like magnesium levels, CoQ10 levels. We can actually check that in people's blood now. So if you know if that's appropriate for you, we can test that and decide what the right thing is. And then taking a supplement holiday, this is also really important. I don't just take indefinite supplements for years on end. You have no idea how many patients I have who come in and they've been like, I've been on this for years and they've never stopped. You want to take a supplement holiday, which just basically means you want to stop those supplements for a while and see how you feel. You may not need them anymore. And that gets to assessing if it's working. You don't have to be afraid to say, okay, this isn't working. Let me try something else after you've given it a good enough time. But you can also stop to see if it, you know, maybe my fatigue is worse when I stop my multivitamin. It's important for you to know that. So take that holiday, assess if it's working, and then resume it if you need it. And then stop if it's causing symptoms. So botanicals are not uniformly safe, right? It doesn't mean that because it's natural that it's not going to cause problems. If you have symptoms as a result of your supplements, think of two things. Did you go too fast? So oftentimes in some of my supplement regimens, I'll tell people take a half a dose for 3 to 5 days and then increase to the full dose because your body needs to get adjusted. Things like the probiotic, the prebiotic may need a taper time. And then the second thing is your body just may not like it. So if you're taking something and your body just doesn't like it, you've given it like a 3 or 5 day period and your body's not feeling it, then stop it, find something different. And then share your supplements with a knowledgeable provider. And the knowledgeable part there is the most important because not every physician, as a matter of fact, physicians are not taught this. As a physician, I will tell you, we were not taught this. This is something I had to learn independently. So if you are going to be on supplements, make sure you're working with a provider who understands supplements so that you make sure you're not having any interactions. So I know I'm over time, but I do want to share with you guys how you can get access to supplements, in particular, a sale that's happening coming up this week. So this is the full script link. I'm going to put this in the chat if I can figure out how to do that. I'm going to put in a couple of links. I'm going to put in a couple of links, but one is for full scripts. Go ahead and make a account if you have not already. And okay, here we go. Make an account if you have not already. And then when the supplement sale, which is about to start in a couple of days, starts, you can go ahead and purchase your supplements from here. This enables you to get high quality supplements, the same supplements that I've described here. If some of them seem like they might be right for you, you may want to go ahead and add those to your cart now. But there is a sale going on that's going to start on the 24th and to the 26th. So it's only a couple of days. So you want to make sure that you take advantage of the sale. This is my favorite time to buy supplements because they're all discounted. So that's why I'm even giving these talks, because I'm just like, hey, let me let people know what's out there, but also help you figure out what you might want to purchase. So the last little piece I want to tell you about, if you're interested in working with me, I have a program called the Black Women's Guide to Health, Hormones, and Longevity. It is starting in January. If you are interested in that program, I will also add the link the link for that. But you may want to schedule a discovery call with me first and talk about it if it's the right program for you. And so that's the link for that. But I also wanted to share with you the link for to get more information about the program. So that's at www. Let me go here. www.blackwomensguide, BLK womensguide.com. And if you go there, it will tell you more about that program. It starts January 8th, but register now and we will get you enrolled. You'll get you with the set up with the health coach. There's some other benefits to joining early. That's $100 off for joining early. So this is a great time to do that. If you're interested in knowing more about this program as well, I have a masterclass where I talk about being the CEO of your health. I'm going to share that link with you as well. And if you are interested in looking at that, it'll tell you a little bit more about the program. But just to give you an overview, it's an 8-week course. It includes an online course, which kind of goes over all the things we talked about today. Not so much supplements as much as the lifestyle portion of it. We do talk supplements a little bit, but it's more for really setting your body, which is why it's a great program to start in January. So getting ready for this new year. They're weekly live Q&A. So you get one-on our group session with me and the other women in the group. And that is typically on Wednesdays evenings. And then you have one-on-one health coaching with the health coach. You get a manual that kind of goes through everything that you need to know to go through the program. And the program is a very structured program. It's structured to allow you to reset your body. It tells you exactly what to eat, how to plan for that, all of the things that are going to be required. So between the manual and the online course, it essentially gives you a roadmap to resetting your body. And then you have the live Q&As with me, as well as the health coaching to help personalize, troubleshoot, and get accountability. You also have direct messaging. So if you, at any point in time, you have questions, you can always connect with us on my secure platform. And then also there's a closed Facebook group where I post regularly. Awesome, Cynthia. I would love for you to schedule a discovery call with me. Go to that website, theblackwomen'sguide.com, and get more information about the program. But there's also a link there where you can schedule a discovery call with me, and we can talk about getting you enrolled for January. So I think that's all I have for today. I'm going to go back to this site and show my face. So if there's any other questions, I'd be more than happy to answer them. I hope this was helpful. And yeah, I also have I'm going to do my sugar supplement talk again on Wednesday. So if you missed that, you can show up on Wednesday at 6:30. I'm going to do a talk then. And then next week, I'm going to talk about how to get labs done. And not just regular labs, but really sort of functional medicine labs done. And if that's something you're interested in. So I'll be doing some talks next week on that. I also have the 5-pound challenge coming up. So if you don't follow me on Instagram, please follow me on Instagram and Facebook. I'm more active on Instagram, but the 5-pound challenge is on Facebook. But you can do that at People's Functional Medicine. Oh, I think, Nicole, I had a question. Did somebody have a question? Oh, sorry. I heard you say last week that you don't take melatonin for sleep. What's the reason? Great. Thank you for letting me know that. So yes, melatonin, your body makes melatonin. You want your body to make its own melatonin. You do not want to supersede your body's melatonin. When, we're talking about optimizing the way our bodies function and optimizing our hormones. We do not want to replace what our body needs to be doing with supplements, particularly hormones. And melatonin is a hormone. So there are better ways to balance that. So there are 2 hormones that adjust for sleep. One of them is melatonin, which rises at night, and cortisol, which is your stress hormone, goes down as you get ready for sleep. So one rises and the other one falls for sleep. And so what you want to do is you want to naturally, either with supplements or through lifestyle, bring that cortisol down and have that melatonin rise the way you want it to rise. So oftentimes people take the melatonin and then it shuts off your body's ability to make melatonin. And so now you're requiring melatonin for life to sleep. Or it just is harder for you to sleep if you don't take your melatonin. So that's why I think it's really important to really think about which supplements you're taking, particularly with hormones. You want to balance, not supersede. So I hope that answered that question. And then I've been prescribed vitamin D3 50,000 weekly for 12 weeks. Should I be taking something else with it? Yeah, you should be taking vitamin K2 with it. So the 50,000 for 12 weeks. The reason why oftentimes we'll prescribe it that way, if your levels are really low, we want to really give you enough to boost you. So during that 12-week period, it's okay if you're not necessarily taking the K2 because you're not going to do that indefinitely. It's really just to get that vitamin D level up. If you're taking a multivitamin that has K2 in it, then you're good to go. And then once you get your levels up to par, then I would go to those droplets that I told you about, the vitamin D3 with K2 in them, and then use that as your ongoing supplement. So which one was that? So this one down here in the bottom, you can get it as a pill. There are different versions, but I like the droplet because I can adjust the amount. You can actually do this as 50,000. You would have to basically drop 50 times in your mouth, which is not fun. But oftentimes I'll just do a dropper full in my smoothie or something like that. And that will give me my 50,000 and plus my K2. So you could do it that way as well. So you have options, particularly with supplements. There's just so many different ways to do supplements. You could, do it as a liquid. You could do it as a pill. So I hope that answered those questions. Any other questions? All right, ladies. I appreciate you guys showing up. Yeah, absolutely. And I will see you guys at the next masterclass. And I'm going to go have Thanksgiving dinner. So have a good night.